Dr. Anna Lutfi and the Bad Law Project are suing the government for trying to teach children as young as 5 divisive issues. Families of some of the children have come together to file a class action lawsuit against the UK government and the Department of Education. They're calling for personal, social, health and economic education, known as PSHE, to be abolished in schools and for parents to have the right to withdraw their children from lessons dealing with sex, health and relationships.
First of all,
how is this even a discussion?
First of all, why do kids need to learn about sex and relationships as young as 5? Why? There's plenty of time and years for them to learn that when they're older and understand more. Why at 5 do they need to know that?
5 is pretty young.
It's very young. Very, very, very young. Like, that's a proper sort of serious, mature conversation. Kids can't even have a mature conversation, not at that age. They'll look at you and go, oh, why does your face look like that? They're still curious, you know what I mean? You can't start confusing them with all of these sorts of topics.
Can I ask you firstly about what's going on in schools? Because I've seen some materials from various parents in terms of sex education. Some of it has been quite shocking, actually, but I think still people deny that there is any kind of problem here.
Yeah, I think when you introduced us now, the topic, you talked about the Department for Education teaching children in schools. That is not the issue. What's the issue is that we have rogue actors who are posing as charities, what we call the third sector. These organisations, they are completely unregulated. They produce the materials. Sometimes they produce the materials outside of the national jurisdiction. So we'll find, for example, certain local education authorities using materials that have been taken from the United States.
Yes.
And there is no oversight on the content of these materials. And what we are finding is that advocacy groups are choosing their own pick and mix ideas of what children should or shouldn't know. There's no oversight. Parents are not really invited to be part of that discussion. And what we do see is that some of these materials clearly engage both the civil law and the criminal law in terms of their suitability for children at certain age groups.
So there's the element of the sexual explicit aspect. I mean, I have a friend who's a parent of a boy of 6. She showed me some of the materials, and she said when she tried to have her son removed, they told her you can't. The government says this is compulsory. So although it is an outside agent providing the materials, the school seems to believe that the government is making them do it. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, 100%. I've seen the materials myself. I think we've lost, thanks to the third sector, which has now seized complete control of education in this area called PSHE, we have lost control of regulation in the same manner as we would lose control if there had been a military coup and we had a junta taking control of the schools.
How the fuck did they lose control? And how are these schools telling parents that you can't get involved? Do you guys not understand that you're going to tell the wrong parent that? Like, you're going to tell some deeply religious Christian or Muslim parent that you can't get involved in your kid's education in any way, shape or form. What do you think is going to happen?
Regardless of that, I don't think anyone's entitled to tell anybody about their own kid.
No, you're like, if a parent is not happy with their children learning something, they have a right.
Ain't no one telling me what I can and can't do with my kids. Ain't no one telling me what they're going to do with my kids. That's my kids. I make the decision.
For those of you that don't know, PSHE stands for Personal Social Health and Economic Education.
We're simply not allowed to have the conversation about what these materials are for, what the purpose of them is. But more importantly, we have, as a nation, speaking about the UK, we have lost any discernment about what age groups are suitable for certain kinds of materials. We simply have stopped having that conversation. All materials provided by the third sector to schools are considered to be appropriate because the third sector has appointed itself experts in the area. And therefore, if something is considered age inappropriate by a parent or a teacher, but the experts, the third sector says, no, this is absolutely fine, that becomes the end of the conversation. And any parent, any teacher and any young person who has qualms, as we saw in the school in East Sussex, where 2 13-year-old girls raised questions about what they were being taught in PSHE, they're actually insulted and called bigots.
I think that she's referring to those 2 girls that were saying they don't want to affirm that girl that was saying she's like fucking cats, and the teacher was calling them a bigot over it. I'm sorry, yeah. If my kid ever came home and told me the teacher called me names because I didn't want to call someone a cat,
Innit? That's bullying.
I would love for them to name and shame whoever that teacher was. And if this video ever gets back to you, I want you to know that you are such a scumbag and a piece of shit for talking to two 13-year-old girls who were completely right and you were completely wrong. You are delusional. I just don't understand how this woke BS has infected the school system. If this was just something that people wanted to believe in their day-to-day things, that's one thing. It's still nonsense. But the fact that they're trying to distort information and they're trying to make these kids think that they live in a world that doesn't actually exist, that the things they're teaching are not real. Boys can't be girls, girls can't be boys, humans cannot be cats, right? We don't have to affirm that bullshit. The fact that people are demonized for standing against that blows my fucking mind. I will never understand it. I do not know how we got here. What insidious methods were concocted up by some like rogue party to destroy our civilization? And the thing that I love the most is that you talk about this to people. It's all over the news. I've seen these books myself. I've actually seen one in person. I know teachers personally that have even like showed me stuff and complained about it, and they're like powerless to do anything about it. And you still get people going, "Oh, it's just right-wing people drumming shit up." It's right there. It's not like somebody is just, people are just saying shit. These, you can actually go and view these books. You can see them on websites that sell them. I don't get how people are denying this.
Yeah, I don't get how people can't see a problem in it either.
It's not just about the age-inappropriate materials. There's also the ideological aspect to this. So children are being taught, and I've seen materials that prove this. In a number of schools, children are being taught, often by outside agents, that there are over 100 genders, or that we each have an innate sexed soul, a gendered soul. This is effectively a quasi-religious belief taught as fact. Now, a couple of years ago, Kemi Badenoch stood up in Parliament and said that the teaching of critical race theory in schools was against the law. Is the teaching of gender identity ideology as fact also against the law?
It is, and let's be very clear, this isn't just about gender identity, although that is the issue that the parents that have come to me have raised. But let's be very clear, the Education Act 1996 is very explicit that the promotion of any idea that is contentious is unlawful, and by promotion, what the statute says is that you cannot present an idea that is contentious as if it is the only idea or the only version or the only worldview available on that topic.
Right.
There has to be a dispassionate, fair and non-partisan presentation of the facts. That would apply to a whole range of issues.
So a teacher...
And therein lies the problem, right? This is an ideology. It's not fact. We all know it's not fact. People that say it is fact are crazy. And yet when you push back on it, because ideology should be pushed back on, you get demonized, your career gets affected, you get excluded from your lessons, career opportunities taken away from you for something that is not real. And people should have the right to say it's not real. Why should we accept something that everybody, including the people that are saying it, knows is a lie? And the worst part is, is to have the conversation with adults is one thing, but to be teaching this in the school system and confusing children. Because these children are going to, I mean, they'll get to a point where they'll figure out that their teachers were dummies, but they're going to grow up thinking...
Or they won't, because they'll be brainwashed and then they'll want to be exactly what the teacher's telling them to be.
Yeah, or that's the unfortunate, like the other unfortunate side of it, where they might actually get brainwashed and they might actually think that up is down and left is right. But the ones that grow up and they finally realize that the teachers were dummies, not only did you waste that student's time, that could have been better spent on something else. I can't even imagine, like, what if this continues to go, where it's going to end up in 10 years, in 5, 10 years, 15 years. Like, we're just going to be completely talking shit in school. I mean, there'll be no point of an education system. There's already problems with the education system as it is, like with the way they distort reality and they don't teach you things that matter in the real world. Now, on top of that, you're teaching trans ideology in school. Are you crazy? I would love to like be the fly on the wall in the fucking Illuminati meeting when they were putting this shit together.
You know what it is? I don't know or understand where they want things to end up. They're doing this now, but what do they want the end goal to be? What's the aim here? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we're going to dive into conspiracies if we go down that rabbit hole, but I have my theories on what's going on. We'll save that for another day, but I do think there's something insidious going on here. I mean, just think about it, right? I won't say what I'm thinking, but just think about it. You destabilize a generation. You have them thinking left is right and up is down. They're mentally unwell, right? A lot of them are going to go on these puberty blockers or whatnot. Then there's going to be detransitioners. There's going to be people that realize that this was a mistake. The people are not going to know right from wrong, even the ones that feel like they made the right choice. Think about it. You destabilize an entire generation. Just think about all the things that could go wrong with that. Not just with other countries getting involved, just with our own nation.
I think it's a sense of control.
I mean, there's a sense of control, but if you have a nation that is completely just upside down, you're slim pickings.
The one of the gender galaxy, which when you talk about religious cults, we have a gender galaxy in one of the sets of materials that I saw, where the gender sun is circled by all of these different gender identities, little planets going around, and it's a huge, glorious galaxy with all of these exciting planets. And in the background, in the distance, there's this sad little sun called the sex assigned at birth galaxy, and there are two little tiny sad planets going around that sun in the background, and they are male and female. The messaging is really clear, but it uses pseudo-scientific, astronomical imagery to present the idea that in the universe there is the exciting galaxy that is all these choices of gender identities, and then there's the boring male and female assigned at birth. I mean, if you are a young person and you would like to be cool, or you'd like to be interesting, or you'd like to be...
That is fucking hilarious.
I mean, they're still trying to learn about the planets and the solar system on its own, let alone adding this in to confuse them.
The gender galaxy? Are you joking me? And then in the background, all the sane people, like, oh, the sad little fucking planet over here of the people that know left from right. This is a joke, man. I've never heard of the gender galaxy. And you've got all of these delusional genders spinning around it. Like, what is happening? 100 genders. There's no way that anyone knows every single one. Like, if they can just rattle them off.
No one will be able to read it off the top of their head. Everyone's response is, well, there's just too many.
It's infinite.
Yeah, infinite.
Well, what does that even mean?
Just some people can get behind the idea of somebody feeling like they should have been born a boy or being born a girl and going through a sex change.
Oh, you just mean
However,
like
when you start throwing in non-binary, I don't have a gender, or there's 100 different genders, or you can be whatever you want, that's when it starts getting ridiculous. But the whole concept of somebody thinking, I wish I was a boy, I'm going to become a boy, or I wish I was a girl, I'm going to become a girl, I can understand that.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean, obviously, I don't agree with, I hear what you're saying. I agree. I get where you're coming from, because my mom's probably like that. Probably like, oh, I get that. But then when you're like, oh, I'm two-spirit, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, my mom's going to be like, huh?
Yeah.
What's good, what? But for me, the whole thing is, huh?
Yeah.
You know, because obviously we watch these videos, we look into it, we understand that left is not right and up is not down, dogs are not giraffes, and humans can't be cats. So for me, all of this is hocus pocus.
What? Humans can't be cats?
Yeah.
That's news to me.
My pronouns are per and per.
The exciting galaxy that is all these choices of gender identities, and then there's the boring male and female assigned at birth. I mean, if you are a young person and you would like to be cool, or you'd like to be interesting, or you'd like to be different, this is a clear pathway for you to have an identity that signals you out as interesting. And unfortunately, we know, as James, my dear friend James, who was just on now, as he pointed out, we know that this links children into pathways, social and medical, which are irreversible and which do result in mutilated bodies.
That's really sad. That is really, really sad. We don't need to watch too much more of it. What I do want to say to close on this
I just want
is...
to know why we're considered boring.
Yeah, we're not boring. We're cooler than you. But what I would say, if there's any kids watch, if I'm being 100% serious, it doesn't make you cool or interesting to come up with an identity and start telling people to affirm it. What makes you cool and interesting is picking up skills that maybe other people don't have. For example, let's say you're a white English kid, but you know how to speak another language, 2 other languages. Let's say that you know how to play guitar. Let's say that you're a pro gamer. You know, let's say that you're good at doing women's makeup. Like a skill, something that separates you from other people. Me telling you that I am agender, lesbian, masculine, like whatever else, that's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. You bring nothing to the table. You're no different from the Becky or the Samantha down the road. The only difference is that you're saying that you're different. That's it. You're just saying it. And you want people to affirm it. And the reason that you don't believe it and the reason that I don't believe it are the exact same. And the way that I know that is when I don't affirm it, you go all up in arms. If you started calling me a woman, if you started saying, Mike, you're she and you're her, do you think I'm going to get upset? No, because obviously I'm not a woman. So why would I give a shit? The reason that you get upset is because you know you're not. That's it. Otherwise, why would you get upset? What exactly what you get? If I started calling you dude, like as in a masculine way, you're a man sabby. You got balls.
No, it would be like someone saying to me like, "You're dumb," but I'm not dumb though.
Yeah,
I get upset because I know I'm not dumb.
Yeah, like if you know you are that thing, or if you know you're not that thing, what are you getting upset about?
If someone told Beyonce you can't sing, she's not going to get upset because she knows she can sing.
Yeah, you might not like her music, but Beyonce can sing. She can sing well. My point is that these poor kids don't understand that these schools are setting them up for disaster now. I mean, the schools did a pretty shitty job in the first place. It's very hard to find good teachers. But now is this poison has infected the system, and it is everywhere. And it's all over TikTok. Kids spend a lot of time on TikTok. It is all over TikTok, and it's more and more is getting out of control. I thought we were getting to the point where everyone was like, yeah, maybe we should just ban TikTok. It just doesn't seem like a good idea. It seems like we've gone past that now, and it's just spiraling out of control. But if you're a kid out there and someone's telling you to like get involved in this nonsense, walk away from it. Go learn play the guitar. Go and pick up a skill. Learn another language. Like I said, do something that separates you from the pack. Just saying that you're different from everybody else doesn't make you different. I love those people that are like, oh, I'm just different. I'm built different. How? Do something.